start first on Trump backing out of this debate that was previously scheduled with ABC News. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's very typical of him, but he's 100% going to debate Vice President Harris. And so there'll be a negotiation. It'll likely not be Fox News. It probably won't be ABC News, but they'll pick a venue and they'll debate. And so this is him posturing. This is him trying to get attention. It's hard for him, but he has struggled over the last 3 weeks to win the attention cycle. He certainly hasn't gotten it relative to the Harris campaign. And so he's trying to do that right now. And I think he ends up debating her. It would be a disaster for him. And he has good political instincts, whether you like him or not. It'll be a disaster for him if he doesn't debate the vice president.
So you think he understands, and it's in his mind, that he does need to debate her at some point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, listen, he knows if he doesn't debate her, he has 6 weeks of getting pounded by her and her vice presidential candidate on the fact that he didn't debate her. There's also a tension in Mr. Trump's personality. He has a difficult time with women. It was evidenced last week. It's been evidenced since the Hillary Clinton campaign against him. What a disaster it would be for him and his people if she can say very simply and very concisely, gee, he was just afraid to debate me because I'm more put together. I'm more cognitively aware. I'm more more verbal acuity than him. What a disaster it would be for him. He knows that. He's just trying to figure out if he can cause some commotion right now and get people like you and me to talk about him.
And yet here we are, right? Here we are. So this week he was also harshly criticized for mocking Harris's racial heritage. Again, some argued trying to get back into the spotlight, trying to get cable news to pay attention. Today he's continuing to attack her, calling her a, quote, low IQ individual, saying she doesn't have the mental capacity to debate him. These are obviously very personal attacks. I'm just curious what you think independent voters who are probably going to decide this election, these tiny slivers of voters in these swing states, how do they read this?
Well, he's in his 2016 playbook. The problem with that playbook is 20.2 million baby boomers have passed away since that election. And so at the same time, you've got about 40 million people that are Generation Xers that have risen to the voting polls. They don't like the behavior. They don't like him calling her those names. A more traditional baby boomer population was actually okay with it. They tolerated it. And I think what he's doing is accidentally increasing her turnout and accidentally increasing her support. And I'll just say this, people are more or less decided. And so this election is going to turn on the turnout. And so he keeps doing that. He's going to fortify her, and he's going to really ignite a lot of people. There'll be women waiting 8 hours. They won't care if they get water, don't get water. They'll be online to vote for Vice President Harris to end this type of sexist, bizarre nonsense in the country.
And you've said Trump is falling behind in the race, even suggesting maybe he should replace J.D. Vance with someone else to get momentum going again. Do you think that's a likely move at this point?
Well, I want him to keep J.D. Vance because I want the president to lose, and I want Vice President Harris to become the president. But he is falling behind. J.D. Vance has been a complete dud. The thing about the president, just remember this, he's such a full-on narcissist that he needs to get 100% credit for this electoral win. Any smart strategist would have put Nikki Haley on that ticket with him, or somebody that could have helped him like a Marco Rubio. J.D. Vance does absolutely nothing for him. If anything, as Harry just pointed out, he has net negative ratings. So he's actually dragging down the president. There was a tell in his interview last week with the National Black Journalists Association. He basically said it doesn't matter. He wasn't referring to Josh Shapiro or whoever Vice President Harris is picking. He's referring to his own vice presidential pick. And that was really not a vote of confidence by President Trump and J.D. Vance. So he could make this move. He's a reality television star. It would be a Bigfoot event. If he could figure out a way to do it logistically right after the Democratic National Convention, because they're going to be getting lots of media attention for that. If he could somehow Bigfoot them right after the convention and swap J.D. Vance out for, say, a Nikki Haley or somebody that could help him win the campaign, I think he's capable of doing it. And so we should be talking about it and analyzing it.
I'm curious because obviously you know him, you've worked with him, you know how he operates. The last several weeks have been high highs and low lows for the former president in terms of his positioning in this race. He came out of that horrific assassination attempt right into the RNC, what was widely considered to be a very successful week for them. And then the race just shifted in such a huge way where, to your point, it wrestled away the attention from him, really gave momentum to the Democrats that they're going to try to sustain. How does he react and think about a situation like that? Some people are resilient. Some people don't have that resilience and resort back to old tendencies. It seems like, as you noted, we're seeing the 2016 playbook come back out. How do you see this?
Well, listen, he's certainly resilient, but I want to point out that I'm now in the category that I barely know Donald Trump. So despite knowing him for 2 decades, working on that campaign, doing 71 campaign stops, serving for 11 days as the White House communication director, I barely know him. And so just like Project 2025, he had 85 of his loyalists there. He barely knows any of them as well. So he's a very transactional guy and he's a very disposable guy. And this should speak to the reasons why he's able to get rid of Vance. But no, he's floundering right now. He's having a very hard time coming up with the right media message and the right narrative versus a younger, more energetic candidate that is building a Barack Obama coalition against him. And he knows he lost to Joe Biden because Joe Biden was capable of building a coalition of people that's just larger than whatever Donald Trump's coalition is. And so you have David Plouffe on that campaign right now. They're going to go back to that strategy. The momentum is with the vice president. And so he is floundering. He's upset with his staff. He's arguing with his staff. He went against 2 people last week in terms of the way he handled himself at that event, blowing those racist dog whistles that he was doing. He thought that that's what his MAGA people wanted him to say, that the vice president wasn't, quote unquote, black. Forgive me for even entertaining that on your show. I apologize, but it's just something that a presidential candidate is doing here in America. And so we have to address it. And this is sort of the absurdity of Mr. Trump. And I think people are very, very tired of this. And so what's at stake here is for the Vice President Harris, to build this massive Obama-like coalition and put an end to Trumpism. And so that whatever resolves itself in the Republican Party post-Trump will be a better version of that party than what we're seeing today.
All right. Anthony Scaramucci, thank you for your time on this Saturday. We appreciate it.
Nice to be here with you.